Good evening and welcome to the Association Podcast. It's your host, Randall Gimm, with Team MBS and my fellow Team MBS member. We got Melo Williams with me. Melo, happy Monday. Did you have a good weekend?
Man, I will not complain at all. I'm not a LeBron fan. I'm not a Bengals fan, and I'm not a 49ers fan. So it was a great weekend, man.
Man, you got to give it to Mahomes for being able to run out on that ankle like that. You know, it was clear he was going through some pain, and I don't know if 2 weeks is enough time to get ready for the Super Bowl. What do you think?
Man, if he got ready in less than a week for that AFC Championship game, 2 weeks, professional trainers, he's going to be good to go.
Right. I hope it will be competitive. That's all I'm hoping for.
That's true.
And with the Eagles knocking out the Vikings back to get to Super Bowl 52, where we could have played in our own backyard, I've never been a fan, but we've never been competitive against them. So it's like I can't even say nothing.
For sure. I mean, the Eagles is firing on all cylinders. They definitely were yesterday. Jalen Hurts came back to show why he should be the MVP as well. Even though his arm didn't do it, he did it by leading the team with his legs.
Right. And we could say that the 49ers had a fantastic roster, and you could say that they were robbed by getting all this unlucky juju around their quarterback regime. All four of them going down over the course of the season.
Right.
And as you mentioned, LeBron James had some very bad luck over the weekend on the last play of regulation against the Boston Celtics. It was tied 105-105, and they're running a pin down for LeBron James to where he can attack from the top, split through three defenders, and I don't understand how three defenders don't foul one man, and we can see the replay right here. Give it 1 second. You can see in slow motion that Jason Tatum brings that arm down and slaps the mess out of LeBron James, and it was clear he had something to really be, complaining about this time. So we know that LeBron James is really strong, and refs don't give him the benefit of the doubt all the time because he's not the type to flail and flop. But, should the refs have an option to be able to review this in future seasons? Or if a ref gets a call wrong, should that just be it, just like what happened?
Man, future seasons, let's start that right now, especially with the NBA All-Star break coming up. The NBA and all professional organizations can implement a rule right away, ASAP. So I believe they can definitely implement this rule effectively immediately for the referees. All it is a quick conference call with the commissioner, the NBA Players Association head, the Referees Association head, the committee, competition committee, and they can figure this out real quick. So yes, the referees, it should be mandatory that, referees have the option to review calls and plays like that, even though a call wasn't made. The NBA already have that last 2-minute review process where they review, every game, the last 2 minutes and things like that. And they came out and said that, he should have been awarded 2 free throws. So it's nothing to implement that.
And I remember back when Maya Moore was still with the Minnesota Lynx, and as they were going up against the LA Sparks, there was a clear shot clock violation, but it resulted in 2 points and then us losing by 2 points. And that should have been overturned. And actually a referee, as he was jogging back down to the other end, motioned for a replay, but it was never upheld. And
wow.
And referees can motion for a replay, if they think it's a really close toe on the line, or, it could be a shot clock violation, not sure. And that should be, like in the NFL, like if it's towards the end of the game, towards the end of the half, and there's a touchdown call, they're going to review it within under 2 minutes. And
Yep.
so with a play like that, and you're out of challenges, it should definitely be played fairly. We want everybody to be treated fairly. But there's also this like perfect imperfection of basketball being called.
Yep.
Um, like if you tipped the ball as it was going out of bounds, but they called it the other way, like you're not gonna say, "Oh, it was off me. I'm gonna give it back to them." No, you're gonna take that ball and you're gonna bring it down to the other end to give yourselves another possession.
Yep.
Or, if a foul wasn't called, it's like keep going. There's
Yep.
missed balls all the time, and probably more than we would realize throughout the course of a game. So, is that something that's going to stick with basketball forever, or should the league be doing everything they can to try to make it as perfect as possible?
And to give the referees the benefit of the doubt, they're human. Errors are going to happen. It's a part of the game. And even with the most perfect rule and system, nothing will still be perfect. They're still going to get it wrong, right? However, with the review, a chance to review, 9 times out of 10, they probably will get it right, right? So, um, I definitely believe that the NBA will do that, especially with the CBA coming up. I believe, like with the future of the league going forward, there's been a lot of things going on from load management, referees blowing calls, just so much. So I believe with this new CBA, there's going to be a lot of things that's going to be changed going forward with the new NBA. Um, but referees, I know already that they are reprimanded by like not being able to officiate finals games and things of that nature. And for a referee, I'm sure that's most of their dreams or goals once they get into that profession is to officiate a Super Bowl or NBA Finals or a World Series or a Stanley Cup, right? So um, I believe that hurts, but I don't believe it really hurts that much to where it really would mean anything to them. Like at the end of it all, well, I never really got to referee a NBA Finals, but I can't speak for them. But I do believe that they should be held to some other type of standard, consequence, or responsibility. With that, even if it's doing their own press conferences after the games or pressers after the games and stuff like that. So most things that happen with referees, it's released as a statement, from the head of the referee. So maybe just a little bit, some way more how they should be able to show more accountability.
Right. And, you know, when things like that happen, I'm sure they rush the referees out of there. They got a
Yep,
security team around them, they get a police escort. Otherwise, there's going to be people coming for their heads. So they were very well
for sure.
protected, and they make sure that they stay safe because there's a lot of people betting money these days, especially
Yep,
with gambling becoming legal in so many states, that you have to be
yep.
careful with these kind of people because there's some crazy MFs out there that are willing to do whatever to get, you know, their
That point
revenge or
across.
whatever they feel
Yeah,
like whatever they feel like is
yep.
deserved. And,
I
you
mean,
know, and
and
one thing I'll say
Randall, we
before
can't.
you go on, then
Yep.
you got guys like what was it, Escobar, where down in Argentina, where he was like full on offing referees when they didn't call things their way during a soccer game. That stuff
Yeah,
is wild, man. I saw a whole
it's wild.
documentary about that back in like the seventh grade.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, then we can't forget about the referee Tim Donaghy. I think that's how you say his last
Yes,
name,
sir.
where he spoke about how referees and stuff fix games and things of that nature, or get betting in games and stuff like that. So when you see blown calls like that, that was obvious, a foul call, a hack, whatever you want to name it. It makes people think like, man, is it really rigged, or what's going on? Did this referee have a bet on this game? And I don't want to put that energy out there, but it's legit. It's been said.
Mhm.
I'm not the first one saying this, especially when you had a former referee who was indicted and sent to prison over point shaving and controlling the basketball games, the outcome of games.
Right. And they did he had the conversation about Allen Iverson and how they, discussed how Allen Iverson threatened Steve Javie, who is now a rules analyst on TNT, And he was then a referee, and Allen Iverson threatened him. And so they were going to make him pay by calling every single palming violation, in other words, a carry. And, they're like the boys in black and white, they're protecting their own, and they're almost like their own gang in a sense, and they're taking on that gang mentality.
I mean, what's the referee that Chris Paul got a problem with?
Scott, is it Scott?
Scott, right. Scott something. But you're right. Scott something.
I know his name.
But another example. That's another example right there. Scott Foster.
Thank you. Nice job.
Yep. Scott Foster.
Yeah. And see, things like that should not even be in question, It should be something that is held in high regard and held to that higher standard, like you were mentioning. But when it comes to LeBron reacting like that, it's warranted, but you have to quickly recognize that you have 5 minutes left. I was coaching a game just last week, and my player got called for a travel with 10 seconds left, and it was clearly not a travel. It was a perfect Euro step, and they blew the whistle, and the ball went in, so we thought it was an and one. And then, boom, hits us with this. And then my player, it's a very small gym, by the way, and he walks back to the bench, and he yells, fuck. He yells the F-bomb super loud. And luckily, we didn't get a tech. But then he's got his hands in his head in his hands, and we still got 10 seconds left to play. You got to be able, and it's devastating. It's really hard to deal with, but you got to be able to get back into game mode. And then they ended up losing in overtime, and we ended up losing our game because we thought that was it. But it clearly wasn't. But it does throw you off, and it does change the trajectory of the game. And refs got to be held more accountable and in a safe way.
True.
Let us move on, because LeBron did not get robbed for becoming an all-star captain for the third, fourth, fifth time in a row. But it is his 19th all-star appearance, which is an NBA record. And then he is joined by the rest of the Western Conference starters. We got Nikola Jokic, Zion Williamson, Steph Curry, and Luka Doncic. Melo, did they get it right? Did the media, did the players, did the fan vote, did they get it right this year?
For the West, man, the only name that anyone could question on that is Zion Williamson, right?
Right.
Steph did miss some time, and both of them was due to injuries. However, I was just looking at the list again. I believe they got it right. At the end of the day, when both players, Zion and Steph, been out there, you getting all-star, you getting all-star play from them both. Really superstar play from them both. But I believe they definitely got it right. And I believe, man, that's going to be a lineup to deal with. Because I'm just looking at those names, Bron, Joker, Zion, Steph, and Luka. Man, that's a combination right there.
Absolutely. And I would have to agree. Zion Williamson, I was very iffy on. And then when you try to look at the Western Conference and see who else might be able to take his position, it's kind of hit or miss. Maybe Domantas Sabonis, right? But he's not the flashiest player. And, you want guys in the All-Star game that are going to be dunking, that are going to be shooting, that are going to be, putting on a show for the fans. And I'm not sure if Domantas Sabonis is really that guy. And then, unfortunately, the big cat is out, right? And if he would have been able to stay in and put up good numbers like he was already doing, then he might have been able to get in there. And then DeAndre Ayton, he hasn't been putting up that good of numbers. And, hasn't been holding it down like he should be. And that's, pretty much it, right? I can't think of anybody else. Zubac?
We got to go to Utah, man. Everybody, we got to go to Utah, man. We got to go to get the big man and Lauri Markkanen. I mean, if we're talking about a player that's had a resurgence this year, I wouldn't even say a resurgence. I believe he's maintaining what he did while his days in Cleveland. Got out of Chicago, got to Cleveland, and became the player that us Bulls fans wish he would have been for Chicago. But as far as record, Utah's been relevant. They're still relevant. They're probably like sixth, seventh right now in the West. Laurie's leading the team in scoring. I mean, so it's like you said, going back to Sabonis. Personally, I would probably take Sabonis over Laurie Marketing just because Sabonis. I mean, he's not flashy, but the man got a little creativity in him. I mean, he gets
Right.
triple doubles. He's a great passer. So I wouldn't be mad if it was Sabonis or Marketing personally.
Markkinen with almost 25 points per game, 8.5 rebounds, shooting 52% from the field and 43% from three.
He's like
Bro,
that.
he is emerging and coming into his own. No doubt.
It's like
No
that.
doubt.
Yeah,
Proud of the kid
yes.
for sure. Let us move on to the Eastern Conference. Also a banger of a lineup. Got Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kyrie Irving, and Donovan Mitchell, Mr. 70 points himself. Now, the East was tough because you had four front court players in Kevin Durant, Giannis, Jason Tatum, and Joel Embiid, who all could have been all-star starters. And did they pick the right three?
Who we gonna remove? I mean,
Right.
Jason Tatum. I mean, best record in the East for the
Mm-hmm.
longest. Best record in the league for the longest for about the first
MVP
2 months.
candidate.
MVP candidate. Kevin Durant. I mean, how can he not be an All Star? I mean, look where Brooklyn started. They was
Mm-hmm.
12th, 13th at one point in time and reached all the way up to third until he went down. So
Right.
to see them go from basically the bottom up, you have to have KD in there, and for just his leadership and stuff as well. Giannis, I mean, you definitely can't take Giannis out the mix. The only thing with Giannis you would be able to use is just like with Zion, time miss. But for Giannis, it's just really been more about load management.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but look what he's doing. He has 250-point games already this year with
Yeah,
what
like
about
this month.
38 games left to play, right? So um, MVP candidate again as well, Defensive Player of the Year candidate as well. So he's definitely not moving. Kyrie Irving, you definitely can't take him out. I think he was the led fan votes,
Yes,
possibly or
sir.
something else. So
He led the
it's like you
fan
can't
vote, he
remove
led
him.
the player vote, and then he was fourth in the media vote, which doesn't surprise me.
Can't remove him. No. Donovan Mitchell. I mean, you can't remove him. It's like Cleveland was already nice, but he took Cleveland to that extra. He helped them grow. He helped them make that
Mm-hmm.
next step, right? So,
That
and
upper
like you say,
echelon for
he put
sure.
up 70 points.
Yeah,
So,
and this isn't like Corey Brewer back in the Timberwolves days when he put up
right,
55 out of nowhere, right? This
right,
isn't just some fluke. This is, a hot hand who carried
yeah,
them to an overtime win as well. And
right. Can't forget that.
and how did Kobe score 81 in regulation, bro? That's just ridiculous. He took all the shots and Donovan actually shot a better percentage from the field than Kobe did with his 70 points. So efficient,
But
not just chucking up shots, just taking all game shots that all were in his wheelhouse. And man, that was ridiculous.
now, didn't Kobe sit
Gotta
the
be
fourth
removed.
quarter now? Kobe sat the fourth quarter too.
He sat the fourth quarter in the 81-point game? No,
He
he didn't.
sat the fourth quarter.
No. He hit
He sat the,
what? That's not
he
true.
sat, he sat the fourth quarter, man.
Really?
He sat the fourth
No.
quarter, man.
That'd be ridiculous. But that's besides the point right now. We'll get to that later. But Joel Embiid has been on a tear recently, and you easily could have been an all-star starter. I feel like he could have taken Kevin Durant's spot, but Kevin is clearly going to lead the team vote. I mean, the player vote and the fan vote. And Joel Embiid, he's more of a heel than a hero, right? people love to hate Joel Embiid, especially myself. Him and Cat have been battling for a long time, and we haven't been holding up our end of the bargain. Again, classic Minnesota thing, but it's always fireworks when those guys are going at it because those guys play the same position. They have a similar skill set, but Joel Embiid has just been able to overpower Cat, and hopefully Cat gets healthy soon to where we can see that matchup again before the end of the season. And man, I think the Eastern All-Star starters get it right. But if you're looking at all of the starters, East and West, and you're LeBron or you're Giannis, right? He was the leading vote getter in the East. If you're one of those guys, who are you picking first?
Who am I picking first between out of all of them? If I'm Giannis or Brian?
Yep.
For an All-Star game?
So you got Nikola Jokic, Zion Williamson, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, or Tatum,
Kyrie,
Kyrie, or Donovan Mitchell.
I'm going Kyrie. Why? It's All-Star game. Tell me who could put on. Everyone loves dunks. Don't get me wrong, right? But Kyrie is he's box office, right? All-Star game. I would look at Kyrie being like a Harlem Globetrotter.
Yeah.
Kyrie handles breaking somebody down, setting somebody up for Giannis, the lob, Bryant, KD, you name it. It would be a Picasso picture, bro. Kyrie he's like I say, he's box office, man. I mean, look what he do in regular games, So in the All-Star game for just box office appeal, put on a show, give me Kyrie.
And I would take Steph.
Yep.
Steph, the All-Star MVP from last year. I think didn't he have 50 points?
I think so. Something crazy like that.
Something insane. And he was just hitting every single three, skipping around, catching lobs as well. Him and Damian Lillard were catching lobs from CP3, throwing them things. And he's a spectacle everywhere he goes. Like everybody wants to see his pregame warm-up. Everybody wants to see, what he's doing for workouts and how he's going to shoot the ball that night. And everybody holds their breath and gets ready to celebrate every time his ball goes in the air. And Kyrie, of course, he's going to be, that box office player, but he does that against tight defense. And there's not going to be that until the fourth quarter. Steph Curry is going to be doing his thing throughout the entire time.
I like that.
You could even argue, hold on, I got to sneeze. It went away. But you could also argue picking up Luka Doncic too, because his pace is just so efficient and he can hit any shot over anybody. Man, any pick that you pick is not a bad pick at all. I would have to say.
Not at all. Nope, not at all. I like the Luka pick though. I mean, like you say, I really love the Steph, like you say. His pregame warm-up stuff and stuff like that brings people out. He keeps, like you said, he keeps everyone in awe. You want to see what Steph's going to do, and especially an All-Star game, no telling what he can do. Because a lot of people underestimate Steph handles and stuff as well. Like Steph is complete. I mean, Steph is he's all that.
Absolutely. So if you had to pick a starting five, your dream starting five out of those 10, what would it be? You already got Kyrie. And let's say you got Kyrie, LeBron.
I got Kyrie and LeBron already.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got Kyrie, LeBron. Give me Luka, give me Steph, and give me Giannis.
There you go. And then that leaves me with the Joker, Zion, Donovan Mitchell, and Katie, and Jason Tatum.
That's nice, though.
Dude, that's a tough
nice,
5-on-5.
That's nice, though. That's nice.
Absolutely, it is. And now they're going to be doing the draft right before the game, live and in
Right.
person, as if they all showed up to play pickup, as if it's the Black Ops runs with Chris Brickley in the summertime. Man,
Right.
that's going to be phenomenal. And it's going to be funny, too, because
Yeah.
we know how funny it was with KD and LeBron doing it, whether on TNT. But now, post COVID, going to be doing it live and direct, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Can't
Yep.
wait to see how it goes down. So let's move on to talking about Joel Embiid a little bit. Give him his flowers because we know he's going to be on the Eastern Conference bench, and he's definitely going to be putting on a show. Um, he had a fantastic night against the Nuggets, putting up like 47, 18, and just big numbers. He's averaging 33.8 on the season, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and shooting efficient as hell from the field, 53% from the field and 35% from three. And I don't think he's been taking as many threes as he normally does in seasons past. You know, his 3 points attempts are way down. He's only taken 120 this season, and his highest ever is 263. So he's on pace to go a little bit below that. And as you saw in some of those highlights, he passed up some threes, but he also took some threes. But he's a really efficient from the mid range. His 2 point
Mhm.
attempts are doing really well. His two
Yep.
point percentage this year is highest as it's ever been, 56%. How are you feeling about Joel Embiid this season? And can he carry this team to the finals?
I love the Joel that I'm seeing. I've been seeing the past 2 years. He's just been maintaining his consistency. What I do like, you highlighted. He's cut back on the threes. Um, Even though you can shoot them, don't mean that you're a 3 point shooter, right?
Right.
Joel got caught up into that. Okay, I can hit some threes. I'm a 3 point shooter. And then James Harden came. We saw the hype, the film out there, the footage of him and Harden shooting threes, the step back, trying to perfect it and stuff like that. I said, "Oh, no, don't become that player, Joel." He called himself. I get it, the excitement. However, learning that step back, I saw how he implemented that in his mid-range game that you also highlighted as well. So Joel has grown a lot. I feel mentally. I feel he's been taking much better care of his body as well. And just being that big man, a 7 footer, that much weight, running, jumping, cutting, and things like that, you're gonna have injuries, no doubt about it. So, but I do believe that Joel has taken the game a lot more serious. And I mean, what else can he do? I mean, he's done everything that you would want your franchise player to do. So, um, shout
And
out
his
Joel, man.
usage,
It's unfortunate that he's going through what he's going through, though.
right. And his usage is actually up now that he has
Yeah.
a fully functioning James Harden. Them two are running the pick and roll to perfection. And his usage is at 38% as opposed to his average of 35 over his career. And we've known him to put up large minutes. We've known him to put up a high usage rating, and his critique has been that he's crashed out in the playoffs because he's been used so much in the regular season. Now, are the Sixers overusing him, or is it just right? And will they be able to maintain this in the playoffs?
I mean, I'm looking at his numbers. I mean, his minutes per game, 34. I mean, that's about his career average. So I believe Dot's continuing doing a good job, managing his minutes. But this is my thing, Randall. If he's not on the floor, I mean, what's Philly's best chances of winning? You
Right.
have to have him on the floor, and you know, they're professionals, and it's just unfortunate that he had to do so much in the past, and it catches up. I mean, 82 games is a long season, even for LeBron James, who spends a million plus on his body. We see LeBron James get a little winded as well. The deeper that he's went into the playoffs, so I mean, the body gets tired as a long 82 grinding out season. So I just believe Philly's best chance to make it to the finals. The role players, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, they have to do their job and help Joel when the playoffs come and get as many 4-1 wins as possible, and get that rest in the playoffs.
His on-off numbers are actually have always been in the positives on and off the court in every single season of his career. This season, it's at 9.2, and his off is 10.5. So this is
Yeah.
like one of the better teams that he's had in recent memory. And, they should be able to do some damage, but I feel like they're being really underrated right now.
I mean, look how they silently climbed to number 2 in the East.
Right.
So they had to get through what they got through with the injuries. Tyrese Maxey went out for a while. James Harden seems like he's put all the off court stuff to the side somewhat and been focusing more on basketball. So Doc Rivers still been doing Doc Rivers things here and there, but he's been doing a much better job managing that team. I believe he done a great job, fairly well. A great. No, I'm just gonna say a great job. Doc did a great job. When Harden was out, Maxey was out, Embiid was battling injuries and stuff like that. So I'm gonna give Doc an A for that. So I believe they do have what it takes to get to the finals. It's just the matter of doing it or not.
And to be successful in the playoffs, you got to be successful in the regular season in terms of win streaks. And they've already had an 8-game win streak earlier this season, and they're on currently a 7-game win streak. And that's what I love to see out of high contending teams is that you're able to win night in, night out. And, you're going to drop some games like, nobody's going to be able to beat 73-9 ever again because it's not something that's worth chasing in the regular season, I would say anymore. And so when you're going on win streaks like that, even, just 7, 8, 9, and then if you're getting in the 10s, the 12s, like that shows that you're a resilient team and that you have a consistent, identity, that you have something to rely on, something to hang your hat on. And for them, it's their fantastic defense and, slow paced offense. Their pace is at 97.7, which is 24th in the league. That's not fast. And they're
Not at
staying
all.
true to it. And, Harden teams in the past have been very run and gun teams. But now you got the nice pick and roll where you could pick teams apart very slowly and just make the right decision and get it to the right person, and you'll get the ball back if you're James Harden or you're Tyrese Maxey or you're Joel Embiid. Like, if once you get that ball to the right person and then have the defense collapse on them, you're going to get it back, and it's going to be in the right hands of the right player at the right time. And I think they're doing a fantastic job. So, do you
I
think
mean,
that they're
their
going to?
style.
Got one question for you.
Yep.
Do you think they're going to be able to, get to the finals as is, or do you think they would need to add like one more piece as they
They
make a run for the finals?
No, they got what it takes to make it to the finals. But to add a piece, I mean, definitely, if you can definitely add another big, I believe they have enough wing players, enough guards. So definitely if they could get another big some way somehow to help Joel get some rest, that could be able to at least come in and protect the paint, protect the rim, hold the paint down. I definitely believe that would be a good thing to do. Bring in DeMarcus Cousins, somebody like that. Try to get Serge Ibaka, somebody like that. Even though Milwaukee probably gonna send him to Phoenix, that'll mean that Philly and Phoenix can make a deal as well. So go after somebody like that. Even if they went after the Marcus Aldridge, I don't know what type of shape he's in right now, but
Right.
some bigs like that with some veteran leadership, they'd be okay.
Yeah, I like the DeMarcus Cousins look, honestly, because their pace is so slow. You don't got to worry about him running the floor. He can be a
Yeah,
defensive liability these days, but he does a lot of the things that Joel Embiid can do. He could score on the post, score on the three, space the floor. He could pass the ball well. And like you said, like we don't know what kind of shape he's in, but I think it's worth a shot, worth a workout. And then, yeah. But right now they got Paul Reed and Montrezl Harrell. And Paul Reed is only a second-year player. Montrezl Harrell, he's only 6'7", playing the center position. So,
Yeah, that. Yeah.
yeah, he's getting
I
eat
mean,
up
you
by
know,
Giannis.
Philly. Yeah, right. Philly
Eat
play
up
a
by
lot of man zone defense. So with DeMarcus being there, you know, he was still getting, he was still showing some good defensive flashes in LA last year with the Clippers. So I
Yep,
definitely believe, he would definitely be an asset, more than he would be a liability for Philly.
right. I agree. I agree. Well, as we look around the league, what else has been catching your eye? Anything in particular?
Man, the Pelicans, man, I mean, they're like an 8 game losing streak or something like that. Crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like they going through adversity right now. Brandon Ingram got to get back to it and stuff like that. So it's just some growing pains, just a long season, grind season, they came out, started so hard and stuff like that. So just, time in the season just catching up with them, I believe. I believe they get it together. The other thing is Sacramento. Sacramento still isn't getting the love that they should be getting. Mike Brown still isn't getting the love that he should be getting to go into that franchise, taking that talented group that was there and putting it all together. I think they have two or three coaches with pretty much everyone that's there.
Yep.
Minus sending Tyrese to Indy and Buddy Hield. And bringing in Demontis Sabonis. However, pretty much that roster has been there. So Sacramento isn't getting the love that they should be getting, man. I think they're third in the West right now, third or fourth in the West right now. And I don't believe this is a fluke, Randall. I believe this is real. The offense was
Yeah.
there. Mike Brown brought that defense concept. They needed that leadership, that guy that the players was gonna look up to and respect. And he
And
brought everything that culture, that locker room needed.
and they have someone that leads by example, who is a young player from Baylor, Davion Mitchell, who just embodies that defense and is willing to defend all five positions and run from the east side of the floor to the west side of the floor, up and down, left, right. He's able to cover. He's able to recover on screens. He can get around screens. And, man, he's just a beast. And I'm glad to
Yes,
see his game translate so well to the NBA. Um,
yes.
but speaking of the Kings, at the 3 spot, they are 6 games behind first place. And then you scroll all the way down to the 13th spot where the Los Angeles Lakers lie. And remember earlier this season, we were talking about, the Western Conference and how it's so tight. Well, they're only 11 games behind the first place spot. That means there's only 5 games between 10 spots in the Eastern Conference from 3 to 13. Like, it only takes, a couple teams to get hot. And Stephen Gardner, our, Team MBS Media, I'm going to have to pull up his tweet because he showed a fantastic tweet where he showed the Western Conference team's record against the West. And actually, I got it right here. So the Denver Nuggets in the conference are 25-10. The Memphis Grizzlies in the West, 15-15. Then you go down to
Hold on.
teams. Huh?
Memphis was what? Memphis was what?
Memphis is 15-15 against teams
Real
in the
quick.
West.
So, Ja, you got something to worry about before you get to Boston in the finals, Ja.
Yeah. He's not worried about anybody in the West. Well, you're about to have a losing record against everybody in the West. They are defending home court well, 21-3. That's tough. And that
That's
was just
important.
suffering a loss to the Warriors the other night. And then you got teams like the Mavericks, 19-12. That's a good record. And then the Phoenix Suns, 20-14, but they cannot win on the road very well with 8-17.
Mm.
That's a tough record. And so it's just so volatile. Like, my Timberwolves went from the 12th spot to the 5th spot in a matter of like a week or two because we're 7-3 in our last 10 on a 3-game win streak, but then we start feeling ourselves and then we go into a loss, and then that's just tough, man. I can't even believe it, and I don't feel like we're the 5 seed right now, and I don't feel like the Phoenix Suns should be a 9 seed. But everybody from 3 down has 20 plus wins or losses on their record already this early in the season. And man, do you think that this is going to be the year that we have another Eastern Conference team winning the championship? Like,
Yes, yes.
yeah, because
Milwaukee, Boston, or Brooklyn, or Philly.
yeah,
I believe it's coming out the East again.
right. Ben Simmons needs to start scoring the ball for them to actually be contenders in my mind. Like,
It's
he's got to be able to get 15 at least. I'd be happy with 12, but 15 is what I need from Ben Simmons.
I'm ready to send you a message on your phone, something that I posted 7 years ago about Ben Simmons.
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Bring it up.
Ben Simmons, though, you would be waiting forever for that to get that scoring production out of him. I mean, he's averaging 15, 16 points a game, no, right? So it's like for me, that's great for Ben Simmons, right? It's that's because he's not a scorer. I've noticed though, um, when Ben Simmons hasn't been playing though, and someone pointed it out, it's harder to defend Brooklyn. And I know that, and everyone knows that. But the defense, team's defense is it's hard to stop Brooklyn when Ben Simmons isn't on the floor.
Right.
And I believe Jock Vaughn has figured that out, of when and when not to play Ben. And it's working. It should be coming to you right now. So yeah, um, Ben Simmons is going to be Ben Simmons. I don't believe we can expect much more from Ben Simmons than what we already getting. And
Hmm.
I give the Nets credit, KD, Kyrie, all the guys. Even heard Royce O'Neal. They're saying all the right things to keep Ben Simmons' confidence and self-esteem where it should be. They're trying to take as much pressure off of him as they can. And I believe though that Jock Vaughn is definitely getting tired of Ben Simmons and this load management because I mean he pretty much
Yeah,
said it in so many
He's
words in
out
that
right
press conference.
now. He's out
Yeah,
right now against the Lakers with a
yeah,
knee injury. And Jock Vaughn, you could tell he's getting frustrated, man. Like,
yeah.
he said, you got to do what it takes to be able to be ready to play, and everybody should have that expectation. And I totally agree. Um, when I look at the league, if I want to talk about one last thing, is the Jay Crowder trade. Like, it looks like Robert Sarver, who still has the final say on any trade that the Phoenix Suns do, that there's finally talks about Jay Crowder getting traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. What did you hear about that?
Yeah. Hey, first time I heard of those rumors was in December. Yeah, late November, December, and I believe we spoke about it here on the Association Pod before. Um, I like it. I like it for Milwaukee. I like it for Jay Crowder. Phoenix probably wouldn't even be okay with it with if Bale end up getting sent out there, So not Bale, but George.
Yeah.
So that would be another point guard that they would have for insurance, to help Chris Paul out and Cam Payne, defense, veteran leadership, and he can hit down the shots. Serge Ibaka can come in, gives if he can play,
Hmm.
on the defensive end, get some help on the defense. Um, for Milwaukee though, you got Crowder going back to Milwaukee where he played college ball at with Marquette.
Yeah.
So him going back to the city is going to be huge. He'd be motivated. We know what he brings. I believe Milwaukee will serve even better with him. I mean,
Yeah.
because he's going to bring that toughness, right? he's going to want to take the defensive assignments now. So you will have at times you will have Brook Lopez, Giannis, Crowder, um,
Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday, and Chris Middleton.
That's
So
tough. That's tough.
that's tough. That's tough. So but Budenholzer would be able to have a couple different rotations in the playoffs that he'd be able to work with, man. That I
Right.
believe will help Milwaukee win the finals.
That makes them like one of the most versatile teams in the Eastern
Yes.
Conference.
Yes.
And they already love to shoot the three. That falls right into Jay Crowder's wheelhouse. And like you said, Budenholzer is really good at making his players look good. Like Joe Ingles coming off that injury, he's been looking good. Pat Connaughton, he's been looking really good. And that's all in like Giannis's absences, but every time Giannis comes back, he puts up 50, so he looks really good. Like they're looking dominant, and they're also falling under the radar just a tad.
They are.
The media
I
narratives.
agree.
You got to be able to read between the lines and everything like that. So I'm glad that we're having these conversations.
Yes.
Especially about Sacramento, and then we got Milwaukee. And if Jay Crowder were to go to Miami Heat, like rumors are speculating, I still don't think that the Heat are going to be able to put it over the top.
Nope.
And I feel bad because like they're just such a, we always talk about Heat culture, and they're going to be able to be a great team, but there's just so many better teams in front of them. Like,
Yep.
put the Heat in the West, they could be, 4 or 5 seed right now.
Yeah, I believe they would fare better in the West right now.
Yeah, they got 28 and 23. Yep, they would be a 5 seed right now.
5 seed right now.
They'd actually be a 4 seed because they have less losses than the LA Clippers.
Clippers. And where are they at in the East?
In the East, the Miami Heat are in the 6th spot.
Man, I didn't realize that, but that's good. As much as they struggled early in the season,
right?
That's pretty good.
Man, I'm glad to be able to chat with you about everything that's going on in the league. Next week we'll be back to our regular time, 6 p.m. And is there anything else you got to say before we head out?
Oh man, no, bro. I think I'm pretty good.
Cool,
especially with everything going on with the association. So
I appreciate you being able to adjust to getting to the 7 o'clock time. I've been working my ass off moving these exercise machines, and now it's time to take care of myself, get my R&R in, watch the rest of this Lakers-Nets game, and enjoy the rest of the week as we get ready for the Super Bowl, the All-Star Weekend. Man, we got a lot of stuff going on in sports as we enter
can I say one
Black
thing?
History Month. Yeah, go for it.
Chandler Parsons, man, keep LeBron James' name out your mouth, dude. You sounded very bitter and sounded like a hater, man. I gotta go back and check the footage to see where's this bad energy coming from, man, for LeBron from Chandler Parsons, man. But yeah, that's all I want to say, man. Be cool, Parsons. Enjoy them free millions that you got from Mark Cuban for nothing.
96 of them things. Wow. On that note, thank you so much for joining us on the Association Podcast. It's representing Team MBS Media. We got Melo Williams. I'm Randall Gimm, and we'll be seeing you next Monday.